Hey everyone, this is another episode of Open Book, and I am so excited for today because this is going to be a good conversation. For those that aren't not familiar with Open Book, it is an opportunity for us as a brand, Billy Footwear, me being one of the co-founders. I get to share a little bit of information about the brand, our journey, where we've come, where we're going. But I think the part that warms my heart the most is those that we collaborate with. And today, it's an honor to be able to have someone that we do collaborate with, and we're going to hear her story. So Michelle, thank you so much for being a guest on Open Book.
Thanks for having me.
So for everyone out there, Michelle, she is a ninja warrior. She's a mom. She has her own gym, and she also does a lot of speaking, and we're going to dig into that today. So Michelle, there's so many things I want to ask you, but I'd say it right at the tippy top. I want to learn all about Ninja Warrior because I've seen it on television. I've seen the energy. I've seen just the ability for those that truly, it seems like they're defying physics to really get through some of these challenges. How on earth did Ninja Warrior come into your purview, and where did you get the spark to pursue it?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I had never heard of it at all. I was overseas for 5 years. And then when I came back, I was just serving at Texas Roadhouse and then working at a gym as a personal trainer. And I had 3 friends all in 1 week, like, hey, Michelle, have you heard of the show? I think you'd really like it. And the third person just like slapped the table, like, Michelle, have you heard of the show? You got to do it. Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. So then I went on TV and found it and looked it up. And I instantly just fell in love with it. It was like, I got to try this. So then I was looking at ways to try it, and I found a gym in New Jersey. And I'm in Ohio, so that's about a 9-hour drive. So I ended up driving out. I wrote the owner, and I found out later he thought I was just like a crazy fan or something of the show. I was like, I didn't even know who you were. But I literally drove out to New Jersey with a friend, and we got there at like 9:00 at night. And we were just talking, and I was planning on not doing any obstacles until the next day. And it was like, you guys, we're just talking. There's a salmon ladder over there, which is the one that you hop the bar up. And I was like, can I please try it? And so he's like, sure, whatever, go ahead. So I hop on and like I get it up a rung, and he's like, whoa, yeah, do this. And like I got it crooked and then corrected it, got crooked, corrected, made it to the top, hopped down. And he's like, I've never seen a girl get the salmon ladder before. I was like, really? That wasn't that hard. And then he's like, yeah, I've never had a girl get my warped wall either. And his warped wall at his gym is way steeper than the show's, so it's a lot harder. So yeah, the next day just worked on it. And all the guys were doing 3 steps. At that time, there was pretty much no girls that did ninja. Right. And accidentally one time I randomly did 4 steps on the wall. And I was so close, and it was like, oh, that's the key. So then a few more tries, and I got it in 4 steps and got like all the other obstacles. So then I was hooked and started. I was climbing at a gym for the fun of it. Then I had been there for years. So I came home and showed a video to the owners and was like, hey, we could put a warped wall back there. Hey, we could do this here, And he was like, hey, if you find people to help you out, then yeah, you can start, you can start building stuff here. So for 2.5 years, I hosted stuff there. And then I went like after my first event, or actually before our first event, I posted something on Facebook, and then I got a call from a producer, and they were like, hey, you want to do the show?
Wow.
So it's been a crazy ride.
That is absolutely that is absolutely amazing. I mean, there's so many elements that I just find so inspiring. Getting more on the technical, like the actual training, is it all like kind of like based around the types of obstacles that are on the course, or is it more like unconventional training where, you're rolling massive, like, I don't know, construction wheel tires or just chains and stuff and like going up and down like that? Is it that kind of stuff? Or is it more like leg presses and bench presses and just like running and conditioning? Or is it just all that stuff?
Yeah, well, I would say it's a mixture of everything. And anyone who does ninja, like, either the ninja experience or just having a diverse experience is really helpful. But actually, because Ninja has grown, so it's insane how much it's grown. Like I used to have to drive 9 hours, and then I started hosting events, and now people are like, "Oh, there's not a gym in our city," and it's like that used to like be totally normal, and now there's usually like several gyms in every single city. So there's hundreds of gyms all throughout the country and the world now. So you don't know what you're actually going to face on the show until the day of. You
Mm.
get there and they tell you the rules. You don't get to touch it. You don't get to try it. So we just try to like replicate past things, learn the techniques that work on, all the obstacles we have experienced. And it's really cool. You go to different gyms and like each gym has a slightly different feel. You learn different things. So definitely going to a Ninja gym is super helpful. So like I own MLab Ohio, and we have classes, we have birthday parties, open gyms. We also have a competition team. And we actually on Monday night, we had 2 of our staff were on the show from last season. And we have several that will be competing, where I'm actually competing again in a month. So working on getting into top shape again. But yeah, going to those gyms, you get to practice similar moves, but it's not the same. So you really don't know what it's going to feel like till you're there.
Mm. What were you like when you were 5 years old?
I was climbing on everything.
Okay.
I loved football. So like we would play in the neighborhood and we'd play a game where you just like whoever had the football, you tackled them. And then like my favorite thing was just hanging on to the football and no one could wrestle it out, So we were just outside 8 hours a day, like we just were always active I love running. I love climbing. So it just worked out well to go into Ninja.
Mm. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have an older brother, and that's the joke is he's 2 years older, and I always worked so hard to keep up with him. So yeah, he definitely pushed me a lot.
So I'm a parent now. So I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And what you just described right there, our 2-year-old Shelby, she's always chasing after brother, and brother's
Yeah.
always kind of pushing the envelope, and he's bouncing off everything, and just it's like we had designated a certain couch, like this is the couch you can jump on, like do not jump off the other one. And he's doing these things, but sister wants to do everything the brother wants to do, and she's kind of taken some abuse a little bit trying to keep up. But
Right.
What you're describing is like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing a future here for this girl.
Ninja.
She's gonna be hardcore. Wow.
Yeah. No, I loved it, and I think it's so valuable, to get that challenge.
Well, I'm imagining this kind of ties into your public speaking as well. And I know there's a family element there too, but where should we start? Should we start with the family side or start with the public speaking side?
I'm good. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, let's talk about family, because I mean, I was touching on my family. I would love to learn more about your family.
Yeah, so that's actually how I got connected to you guys. We were told initially, I mean, I met my husband online, which I said I would never do. And then finally I was like, I'll give it a try. And then now I love it. I'm like, everyone should go online. But he actually lived 2 hours away from where I lived and where the gym is. So I now commute to the gym, but I do a lot of work from home. And we met, I was 36 when we got married. And then we found out that we had a really low chance of getting pregnant. So I was on some medicine to try to help. And then we were able to get pregnant. We actually initially had twins. We did lose one. And we had a super rare thing called trap sequence, where the twin without the heart was actually only waist down. Like the upper part of the body never formed. But Grace, my daughter, was actually pumping blood into the other one still. So that put my daughter at high risk of heart failure because she's doing twice the work. So they were monitoring us constantly. I was on bed rest, and it was a very intense pregnancy. And I missed one appointment. We were weekly appointments, missed one appointment because of COVID, and then came back and they were like, hey, the twin is now 90% the size of Grace, and 60% is when you had to do surgery. So they're like, we have to do surgery right away. So we did surgery, and then that put us at high risk of preterm birth. So, kept monitoring the next few weeks, months, and she ended up coming 3 months early. So she was a 27.5 weeker, which, it just still boggles my mind. She was under 2 pounds, and the like tiniest little thing you could ever imagine. So she, has gone through tons of things, and she's doing so well. But she did get diagnosed with high functioning cerebral palsy. So she's super active, but her left foot drags. And like, we've worked really hard on her left arm, left foot. So they are still very high functioning, but it makes it hard to jump, makes it hard to run without tripping sometimes. And she loves running. And so she got a boot about 2 months ago, and that's where people recommended Billy's, because I was like shoving her foot in, trying to get it around the boot, and it just was not working. So when we went and got the Billy footwear, like, she literally every day will be like, thank you, because she loves it so much. So thank you, by the way, for creating that.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you so much for sharing. There's a lot of things that are rushing through my mind right now. I did see some on your Instagram, which I'll share in just a moment, but of your daughter in those navy floral shoes, and just the smile on the face, and just like, yeah. And also the running, just like, oh my gosh, like just almost like, just like, whoa, slow down, you're pulling me along kind of deal. So yeah. But I also, when you're telling your story, it just reminds me of like kind of my own personal journey. Like when I got hit with news that was just completely out of my control, and something that is very difficult to process. I broke my neck when I was a teenager. It was a head first fall to concrete. And I just remember the words so vividly of the doctor telling me in just no unapologetic terms that I had a spinal cord injury. I was paralyzed from the chest down, and I would never walk again. It was really like that clear cut. And when you get hit with that information, it's like, how do you process that? And I can't even imagine like you getting that type of information and then just having the recoil to try to digest that, but also looking forward going, what does this mean? So, can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah.
I know it's sensitive.
No, for sure. We had every emotion possible, I think, but one thing is, like, I do have strong faith in God. And so I think that helped a lot too throughout the process. Because honestly, my husband and I did have peace, because there were so many times, constantly being on bed rest, like I wasn't supposed to lift more than 10 pounds. And I was like, my backpack probably weighs like 20 pounds, like they're like, this is going to be hard for you. But like even when on bed rest, is like every movement is like, am I going to hurt my daughter? Is something, like, is it anything I'm doing going to cause more challenges or whatever? So, and there were so many times like, hey, we might lose her. And we just prayed constantly throughout of just, hey, help us to hold it lightly, and whatever happens, and help us to be grateful no matter what. But like, it also makes you so grateful. I think I appreciate life in a whole new way that I never could have before, of just like how delicate it is. And seeing her grow from this like tiny little thing that like, her little cries, and it just rips your heart out. And then having to leave, like one of the hardest things is if you're in the NICU. She was in the NICU for 2 months, and every, we barely get to touch her. You get about an hour to hold her the entire day, which babies, are used to pretty much being on their mom from birth. And then you have to leave. You could try to stay the night, but then you wouldn't get any sleep, and then you'd be a mess for all the time you're there. But having to leave every night is just like rips your heart out, because you're like, I'm supposed to be with you. So I don't know. It was just such a mixture of emotions, and I feel like it's still, like I'm also trying to work full time during that time and pump and all these things. So it's just like, I don't know. It was very intense, but like I said, just it creates a thankfulness, I think, too.
How old is your daughter now?
She's 2.5 now.
2.5.
And she was talking up a storm. I feel like I'm talking to an adult. It's so fun.
Does she talk to her? So my she's 2 as well.
Nice.
Wait, when's her birthday? Actually, our daughter was March.
22, so February
Okay.
2nd.
Wow, amazing. So our daughter's in March, so just a
Nice.
little bit. But she talks about, she speaks to herself in the third person. Her name's Shelby. So it's like, not good for Shelby, not good for Shelby at all. It's a hilarious thing. Like, where did this come from? This little dude.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
So
so
I'm curious, did you I mean, her name just so amazing. I'm
Mhm.
curious, did you already have that name in your pocket or did that kind of come along later?
Yeah, well, when we found out we were having twins, we were kind of playing around with potential boy and girl names, and my husband said, "How about Hope and Grace?" And
Mm,
I really liked that. And so what we've kind of said since then is like we hoped for two, but by God's grace, we still have one,
mm,
So I know the first, I mean, it's still sometimes hard seeing twins, knowing like, oh, like Grace could have had a fun little playmate and all this stuff. But at the same time, like, trusting God with that. And at the same time, like, you know, we had no guarantees of grace, so having one is better than zero. But definitely the first year, especially anytime I'd hear the word hope or like hope was used a lot, and kind of be like,
mm,
and I still can, but again, it just makes me super thankful for what we do have.
right. Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, the emotion is obviously still there. I mean, I can definitely go there with my own injury and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
But
bet.
obviously, but you've been able to, it sounds like you public speaking, like you're able to share and stuff like that. So does this come up in conversation, or is it more ninja related, or is it more gym related, or is it just the whole package?
Right. Yeah, I do. I've done a wide variety, and I was doing it a lot before I got married and had a girl, and so I'm back into it now. I actually will be speaking in Northern Ohio to a group in a month or so. There will be a mixture of people with disabilities, people serving those with disabilities and their families. So I'm really, really excited about that. Um, and then I speak at churches, at schools. I've spoken kind of the whole gamut. I love talking. I mean, everyone does want to know about ninja, so I definitely share stories from that. And there's so much that you could go, like so many different directions I could go with it. So recently I spoke at a women's leadership, like a business training, and it was focused on rest, because that's another thing that is just so crucial. I feel like we're all so busy and just pulled in so many different directions, and finding rest in the midst of that. And so that's another thing I love speaking on. I love speaking about failure and how we grow
Mm,
from failure. And that's a huge ninja. I can draw so many stories from ninja, because I mean that's what ninja is. I have fallen in the water so many times. I've also been blessed to get 4 buzzers, but that's through lots of tears, lots of practice, lots of challenges, and lots of celebrations with other ninjas. And I also love speaking about camaraderie and teams and communication. And I'll have one coming up that's talking about community and just how important community is. I have at different times in my life, I've had like really solid accountability partners where, we just constantly are checking in with each other to help each other with our goals and growth. Because I love, kind of my big thing is, being your best self. And so I like to help people inspire and encourage and challenge people. How can they be their best self? Whether it's getting more rest, whether it's working through failures, whether it's having a stronger community. Because as a personal trainer, that was one of the biggest things is if the people around you are not being healthy, that's just going to drag you down. And so if you want to be healthy, you have to find other people to help you be healthy. So
right.
those are all different areas I love sharing about.
Wow. Well, man, you hit on so many, and every single one of those is gold. I think when I think about those around me that help me, they would give like kind of an encouraging word, but at the end of the day, they couldn't fix me. It had to be
Mhm.
my choice, like choosing to lean in to make those changes. And there's that motivation part of it, but it still requires action on the
Mhm.
actual person. So everything you're talking about really drives towards that action, drives towards that movement, but also
Right.
drives towards community, which I love.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I love like, it's so cool, your story, hearing about it. It's so, inspiring, and just, I love seeing what you've done, and thank you for all the ways that you're serving so many through your own story.
Well, it's definitely a team effort, that's for sure. And definitely it's been a matter of working as community. We had no idea that this little brand would turn into what it has, and being able to meet just the amazing people like on this journey. And, Michelle, you being one. So Michelle, I want to be respectful of your time because I think you and I could talk forever.
Right.
But I wanted to give you the mic one more time. Is there anything else that I know we've covered a lot, but is there anything else you wanted to share before we bid our guests adieu?
Yeah. Yeah, just one shout out to the Billy footwear shoes, because I will tell you, I have a pair now too, and it's like I don't want to wear any other shoes now. Because so at the gym, we have so many kids that come in, and they don't want to tie their shoes, so they wear either super super loose footing, like loosely tied shoes, or Crocs or whatever, sandals. And like those don't work on a warped wall. They're all like, they'll literally start to go up the warped wall and their shoes just come off and then they come sliding down. And so one thing, a really cool functional thing for everybody about your shoes is it still keeps your feet secure in the shoe, but yet it's super quick to put on. So like I've found myself, even, I'm not a big slip-on type person because I'm a runner and I want good, good grip and good support. So I love that of like, hey, you can just slip it on, but at the same time, you still get that. So huge shout out. Like, I think your shoes are helping so many people in so many walks of life. So I just think that's incredible. But yeah, no, I'm really excited. I mean, I had some guests over earlier today and was telling them how great they are. So thank you guys for creating that. And I'm just excited to partner with you guys. And yeah, if anyone wants to check us out, they can go to my Instagram, Michelle Warnky, and they can, if any of you guys want to come to our Ninja Gym, MLab Ohio in Columbus, Ohio, I get to come in about once a week since I do live 2 hours away now. But love being there. Or if you want me to come speak, you can go to my website, Michelle Buurma, and .com, and I can contact you there.
Awesome. Well, that was a great plug. I mean, so on screen right now, and for those listening in, we do have the Instagram channel, the Instagram link up on the screen right now. It's at Michelle Warnky. So it's MICHELLE WARNKY. And Michelle does have a link within her Instagram profile, which leads to all of the other information she's provided. Michelle, this is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for your kind words to the brand. The awesome thing is so much of our ability to grow was through word of mouth and building strong relationships. And it's just a tried and true method, grassroots. And when we all come together as a community, I mean, there truly isn't anything that we can't do together. So I just truly appreciate your time today. Thank you for all you're doing out there. It's truly our honor to be partnering with you. So I'm looking forward to the future.
Thank you. Me too. And really appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Everyone else out there, this was another episode of Open Book. We will have another one again real soon. So until then, take care.
Bye.